Hello, friends. Welcome to another Stamp with Me Tuesday. Tonight is the March online card class, and we're going to make 3 handmade cards, 3 birthday cards, using the One More Year stamp set, which you can see right here. Totally cute stamp set with all these like funny sayings. I just love it. I think it's so adorable. And we're going to make a fun fold card tonight too. So I got 3 different cards. We're going to make all 3 tonight. It's going to be a long one. So if you earned the card class for free, grab your supplies and pull them out and let's make these together. If you did not earn it for free, well, you can still get the tutorials from my website, or you can just follow along and follow as best you can. I will show everything, so you'll be able to see it. And don't forget that each month you can earn the next month's card class for free simply by ordering at least $75 worth of Stampin' Up! Product through me in a month. So right now we're earning for the April online card class, which is going to use the Darling Dinos stamp set, which is adorable. Anyway, big welcome to everyone who is joining me live this evening. Hello, Joan and Kim. So glad you are all here. Let me know in the comments if you are stamping along with me this evening or if you are just watching. You know what? I bet you're getting some echo. How's that? Let's fix that up for you. Sorry about that. I really need to make myself a list of things I need to make sure are checked before I go live. Anyway, if you are stamping along with me tonight, I hope that you'll let me know that in the comments, or whether you're just watching. If you are watching the replay, special welcome to you as well. Love that you come later to watch the replay. So let me know if you're stamping along or just watching during the replay as well. Joan, you're just watching. Beth, you're just watching. All right, sounds good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to make my workspace look just a little bit bigger so you can see what we're doing. All right, so here is the One More Year stamp set, which is so cute. We have the little puppy and the wine and cheese and the birthday cake and all these fun sentiments, which we're going to use tonight. Kim, you're stamping along. That is awesome. Now, along with this, if you got the card kit, you got a little sample pack of the Botanical Textures Designer Series paper. And this is a really awesome black and white. So there's all these leafy textures on one side. And then on the other side, we just kind of have some, I don't know, splatters, stripy things. Some of them, that one I think looks like clouds or something. It's just kind of like black and white patterns. So, all right, I'm going to start with card number 1. So if you have the card kit, pull out card number 1. We're going to dump out our supplies for card 1. And let's see what we need to cut. Well, actually, let's go through the supplies first. So we have a little piece of white. We have a piece of Pool Party that has been embossed with the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder, a white circle, a black hexagon. This is cut with the Meant to Be dies. We have a piece of white, a piece of Pool Party, and then basic black for the card base. It's scored in half, so we can fold that. And we're going to cut the piece of the pattern paper that we need. So let's look at this. We're going to use one of the kind of just patterny things, and we're going to use this one that I think kind of looks like clouds or something. So let's pull that out and cut it to the size that we need. And we are going to cut this 4 7/8 by 3 3/8. So 4 7/8. Actually, I'm going to cut it this way first. 3 3/8. All right. And that's going to be, we see the quarter right here after the 3, and we go 2 little tick marks over to get the 3 3/8. And then we're going to cut it the other way at 4 7/8, which is 2 little tick marks before the 5. So I'll line that up and just slice that. And there we go. That's the piece we need for this card. So let's do, you know what? Let's do just a little bit. Well, no, we'll do the stamping first. I never know, like, which is better. Should we put some pieces together first, or should we start stamping first? I never seem to know. But I am going to start by folding my piece of basic black cardstock in half. Hello, Sue and Diane and Elaine. It should be in the mail. I mailed them out last week, Monday. I mailed the card kits out last week, Monday. So if you send me an email, I can check on it for you. All right, so let's grab the circle. We have a white circle and we have a little white rectangle. We want those two things right now. And I'm going to start by stamping our little doggy, our little puppy pug, with some Tuxedo Black Memento ink. So we'll ink him up because tonight we're going to be using our Stampin' Blends to do some coloring. And when you color with Stampin' Blends markers, you need to use Memento ink because it is a water-based ink, and so it won't run with the alcohol-based markers. Now on this little piece of basic white, I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I am using the sentiment that says, "Happy birthday, another wrinkle wiser," because I think that goes kind of with like the little wrinkly dog. So ink that up. I'm going to try to stamp this straight on here. We'll see how I do. There's always two sides to every piece of paper, so if I mess up, I can turn it over. Well, it's a little off center, but it's not too bad. We'll just go with it. So there we go. And now we can color. So let's color. I'm going to start by coloring my puppy dog. And I am going to color him with crumb cake. So I'm going to start with the light crumb cake. And I'm just going to color in all of the areas. My brush tip is getting a little bit smushed, so I might have to switch to the bullet tip. And I'm going to miss his nose and his tongue. Try not to color those over. And his eye. And just try to color this whole thing with our light crumb cake. You can go in circles. When I'm doing a big area like this, I usually just make lines. We're going to go over it enough times that those lines, if there's any lines left, they aren't going to show. So there we go. So first layer of some light crumb cake. Now I'm going to take my dark crumb cake and I'm going to add in some detail. So I like to go over his eyebrows. I like to put little dots where his whiskers go. And then come in on these side wrinkles and down the edges underneath and add some darker bits on his little backside. Add it on his tail too. And come over here and maybe under his tongue a little bit, and under his chin, and maybe at the stumpy ends of his ears. So there we go. I just added some of the dark crumb cake to that. Let me show you. So it's still kind of very apparent. So what I want to do now is I'm going to grab my light crumb cake again. And now I'm going to come in and just kind of color. And I will probably leave the very center of this not colored a second time with the light crumb cake because that's going to leave it and make it even lighter. So we're going to get multiple colors on our little puppy dog. And again, trying really hard not to just color over his nose. Get some more in his ears and his little tail. And there we go. Now my little puppy dog is nice and crumb cake colored. He's so cute. So after I have that on there, I'm going to grab my pool party markers and I'm going to color the little pom-pom on the top of his hat. That's going to be pool party. And then some of the stripes. I'm going to color half the stripes pool party. The other half are going to be melon mambo. Then I can come in. I'm going to use the bullet tip for this and add just a little bit of darkness and on the sides so it looks like it's curving. And that's all I need to do with the pool party. So you can see that. Then we'll grab our melon mambo. You can do a little mambo with the melon mambo. And I'm going to add some pink to his little hat too. And I'm going to add some pink to his little nose and pink to his little tongue. So cute. So cute. So, and then we can add just a little bit of dark on the edges where the hat curves. Maybe on his little nose and around part of his tongue. Oh, he's so adorable. I'm not even going to go over that again with light. So there we go. There is our little pug being absolutely cute. And now we can put this card together. All right. This card has kind of a little bit different layering. So I'm going to start with my piece of the Designer Series paper. Again, this is the Botanical Textures Designer Series paper. And I'm going to start by adding in, I hope I cut this the right size. Let's see. It is. All right. It just looks different than my picture, but it looks fine, I think. Oh, you know what? Maybe I measured it wrong. Oh, you know what? I think I measured it wrong, but that's okay. It still works. And it fits the paper. So, all right. Here is this. We're going to add our piece of basic black hexagon. So I'm trying to think what I did. So I cut this 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. You know what? It should have been 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. But the pool party was miscut too, so it's okay. All right, so we're going to line that up on there. And then we're going to add a strip of the pool party to the front of this. This is this pool party that has been embossed with the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. So this I'm going to add in right here. So it's going like over top of the hexagon, but it's going to go under the circle, and it may need to be just squished so it goes all the way to the sides. There we go. Just like that. And now I can adhere this to the pool party and then to the card front. So we'll put some adhesive on the back of there. This comes over here on this pool party. So easy peasy. And then this is going to go on our card front. Just like, oh, don't drop it. Here we go. So can you see how it doesn't have an even border? That was me messing up the directions in the tutorial, but it still looks good. I think it looks fine just like that, even though it's not completely even. It kind of gives it a different look. So now we can add our little pug, and I'm going to put him kind of off center to the hexagon. I'm not going to put him right in the center. You can put him right in the center if you want to, but I thought it was kind of fun to have him a little bit off center. And I'm just going to add some dimensionals to the back of my little pug. This card is almost done. We'll pull those backs off. And this is going to get added right here. And then I'm going to add, oh, you know what? Look at that. My poor puppy's kind of crooked. We'll fix him. We'll fix him. Just pop him up. Try that again. Let's see if we can get him sitting straight. There we go. All right. Then I'm just going to take my sentiment, and this is going to go over top of the pug just a little bit. I want to put dimensionals over here, but I want to be really careful not to get dimensionals in here because that would make my sentiment like wonky, sideways, uneven. So we're going to put some dimensionals on the right side, and then I'm going to take just a little bit of green glue and add it just to one end where it was going to stick over our little pug. And this just goes right on there. There we go. So cute. Look at that. I do have a piece of basic white that you can put in the inside. You're definitely going to need this for your basic black card because otherwise it's going to be really hard to sign. So we'll just put that inside. I'm not even going to decorate it because I feel like the white is already, but you could, if you want to stamp something on there, you could, or take a little piece of the designer series paper, maybe like that we cut off, and add that to one side. That would be super cute too. We do, however, need to add some embellishments. So in your pack of paper, you have a little strip of embellishments. These are the neutral matte dots, and they're super fun. They are white, black, I think basic beige, and pecan pie. And we're just going to add a couple of these. I'm going to use my take your pick tool. I'm going to try to smush the putty back. And then I want to use the white ones on this. So I'm going to grab a big white one and just set that in here. I like to tuck it underneath the sentiment just a little bit. And then I'll take a little white one. We'll put it there. And then I'm going to take the other little white one, and I'm just going to pop it over there. I like the way the circles all kind of jive together. So there we go. There is our first card with our adorable little pug saying, "Happy birthday, another wrinkle wiser." I love it. I love the funny sayings in this song. All right. I'm going to set that one aside. We're going to start with card number 2. I can figure out what I'm doing. All right. Find all my pieces. Put those aside. Let's cut the pieces, because there's a lot of pieces we need to cut for this one. So let's figure out the pieces we need to cut for card 2 and get those cut first. So what we want is we want to grab this piece right here. All right. We're going to grab that one. That's for the front. I do want to double check. Nope, I used it for all of them. So we're going to cut all of our pieces out of this piece of the botanical textures. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to cut 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch by 4 inch. And we need to cut 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 1 inch. So I'm like trying to think through this. I'm going to start just by cutting. What do I want to do? I'm going to start by cutting the 1/2 inch by 4 inches. So I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch. That's this spot right here. I like to measure it on the right side just because it makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to just cut this at a 1/2 inch. There's 1. And then there's 2. And I'm going to cut this down to 4. So I'll just flip it around and cut to 4. So there's one of those pieces. And then I'm going to take this one and we'll flip this one around and cut it down to 4 inches as well. So there we go. Super-de-duper-de. And now I need to cut 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 1 inches. Oof. Let's start by cutting it. I'm going to cut it 1.5 inches. So 1.5 is right here, kind of where the gray meets the dark gray. So let's cut that 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to cut some 1 inch pieces. So I need 4 of them. 1. I hope that is right. I have the card here someplace. Let me see if this is right. I just want to double check. Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 of those. All right, 4 of those little ones. And then we need 2 that are 1 inch by 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to cut 1 inch. I'm going to cut 1 inch first. Again, lining it up with the 1 inch on that side. And then I'm going to cut 1 3/4 inches. So here we go. 1 3/4 and 1 3/4 because I need 2 of those. All right, so I'm going to put the extras away before they get confused. And let's go over these pieces again. So we have 2 pieces that are 1 inch by 1 3/4 inches. 2 pieces that are a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And 4 pieces that are 1.5 inches by 1 inch. All right. Now we also, I think, need to do some scoring, but I might have done it for you. Let's find out. So we're going to dump out the contents of card number 2. And there's a lot in here. So we have an envelope. That's always good to have. We have an envelope. We have a, I'm going to move my paper trimmer. We have a white hexagon. We have a melon mambo hexagon. We have a black hexagon frame, because what's really nice about these meant to be dies is it cuts out a hexagon and a frame. So I actually, when I cut the hexagons for the pug, I kept the hexagon for the pug and then the hexagon frame for this card. All right. We have 2 pieces, 2 little skinny pieces of melon mambo, a skinny piece of white. I'm going to show you what this card looks like in just a second. We have 2 skinny pieces of basic black, and they have lots of score marks on them. We have a piece of melon mambo, another piece of white. These are the same size, approximately, I believe. And then we have a piece of basic black. Woo-wee, so much. Let me show you what this looks like when we get done. I don't know why I have that piece of basic black. Oh, we need to score this piece of basic black. That's what we need to do. I'm like, something is not right here. So here we go. This is what this card is going to look like. This is a bandstand card. And what it does is it folds up like that. So you can set it up, or if you're looking at it like this. It's really fun. It's not hard to make, but it does have a lot of pieces. So let's see if we can get these pieces all put together properly. We do need to score our piece of basic black. This piece of basic black is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to score it at 3/4 and 4 3/4. So I'm going to score it actually over here at 3/4, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, instead of scoring it at 3/4 and 4 3/4, I'm just going to turn it, and we're going to score it again from this side at 3/4. Easy peasy. All right. Because basically it needs to be scored at 3/4 on both sides. So now that makes a nice fold. All right. Let's do some folding. Let's go ahead and we're just going to fold these 2 sides in. This is just like pre-folding. Okay, they're going to go this way. And then we have these ones, and we're just going to fold these all the same direction. So just fold them and open them back up. So these all go like the same direction. So they make kind of a curve. And we can do the same thing on this one. So we'll just fold these all going the same way. Try to keep it straight. So now we have these 2 black pieces that form these curvy bits. All right. There's our curvy bits. I want to glue down a couple of things before I do anything else. This is the front of our card. And we're going to adhere this melon mambo to the inside. All right. And then we're going to take these 2, I did that right now. We're going to take these 2 little skinny strips of melon mambo, and we're going to adhere them to the sides. All right. These are going to go on the sides. We don't need to stamp this at all. So let's just go ahead and adhere these, get these put into place. Shirley, unfortunately, the card kits are all gone. I send them out before the class. But if you missed it, you can get the tutorials from my tutorial store. Or, the other thing is to make sure that you get registered for the April card class now so that you don't miss out on the card kit for that. So, but I don't do any card kits afterwards, just because that would be a lot of work. So, all right, we're going to adhere this to the inside. I think I cut this wrong. Yeah, I think I was having some serious cutting issues when I made these. But it's okay. They're still great. All right, and then this one is going to go over here. So there we go. That's going to be the inside of our card. Now, on the back of our card, before we get too much further, well, actually, no, we can do the next part first. So I am going to adhere these little side bits. These are going to adhere on the side here. Okay, so these are these long ones. They're going to line up on the top, and we're just going to adhere them over this flap. So these bits that are here, we're going to fold that in, and we're going to adhere. We're going to do this 4 times. So you get 4 times to figure it out. I'm going to put some adhesive on this little flap here. And then this is going to go right in here. All right, whoops. And just get it lined up with the top. Make sure that it will fold just like that. All right. And we're going to do, and this was going to fold flat, and we're going to do the same thing over here. And I do kind of want to make sure that this will fold flat. So you might have to kind of push it a little bit, make sure it gets put in the right spot. But we'll add some adhesive over here to this side. And then you can just take this, lay this down flat, and fold that over. And that way we make sure that this is going to be flat and it's going to fit in your envelope, right? All right. So there's the top bit. Now we're going to do the same on the bottom bit. So again, I'm going to add some adhesive on the side here. And I'm going to glue this down here so it fits. And we will fold this over again. And adhere this on the other side. And this is why I like to use green glue, because I can kind of smush it and get it in the right spot. Get everything going the right direction. So there we go. We're going to glue this down. I'm just going to flip it over to the back. Glue this little bit down. And this is going to create the basic structure of your card. So there we go. There's the basic bandstand structure of your card. All right. How's everyone doing? Hopefully we got that all. It's kind of weird, but those just glue on the back there. Once those are in place, remember those long skinny pieces of pattern paper? We're just going to glue those to the outside. And that's just kind of like add a little bit of something, clean up the back a little bit, cover up some of that. I like doing this in black though, because it does kind of, you don't see those overlapping bits as much. So we'll add this back here. And then we'll add the other one on the other side. And then I want to stamp the back before I adhere it. All right. But we're going to make sure we get the back going the right direction before we stamp it. So there's that. Easy peasy. And now we have that piece of basic white. This is going to go in the back like this. All right. So this is where you can write your message. We're going to go ahead and stamp the second part of our message back here. This is going to say, at least you're not as old as you'll be next year. Such a lovely sentiment, right? So we'll just stamp that right here and leave lots of space for you to sign it. And then this, you know what? I got a little bit of back stamping and it's kind of bugging me. So I'm going to try to do this again. Back stamping is where you get ink on the side. See how I got ink right there? You get ink on the side and then it gets on your paper. Oh, that's better. So we have that. We're going to adhere this to the back of our card, and then we're going to finish off the front of our card. Because lots more to do up there too. We have to do all the stamping for this card. So there we go. Just like that in the back. We'll turn this over to the front. Now we have all these little pieces. All of these little pieces are going to go in here. You can figure out where they go. The smaller ones go on the side. The slightly longer ones go in the center. All right. So those are all going to go on there. And we can glue them all down. There's a lot of gluing. I told you, this card, it just has lots of pieces. It's not hard to make, but it kind of has a lot of pieces. So there we go. That's why I always like to put the pieces in the right spot before I get started, so I make sure that I know where they're going before I get adhesive on them. There we go. Try to get these lined up. Also, the reason I like green glue, I can move them around a little bit. Try to get them straight. Not always the easiest thing to do. There we go. And we'll do the same at the bottom. It is. I love the pink and the black. Pink and black is always just so sharp and vibrant. And it kind of gives that, the black gives it the old, haha, you're old. But the pink lightens the mood, right? All right. Once I have all 6 of these little pieces on here, I'm going to do just a little bit of decorating to them. And I am doing this with my dark Melon Mambo. Now you can use a ruler if you want. I'm just going to freehand it tonight, which I'll probably regret. I'm just taking the bullet tip and I'm just adding some lines. I just wanted to bring in just a little bit of pink, and I didn't really feel like gluing on more pieces of paper. So I'm just using my dark Melon Mambo, and I'm just drawing lines right on that pattern paper. Now I did it after it was glued down just to make sure that I don't know, so they kind of went straight-ish. I put them in the right spots. And it's black, so if you go off the side a little bit, you won't notice. There we go. Just adding a little tiny bit. Oh, Maria, thank you. Just adding a little tiny bit of Melon Mambo on there. All right, let's do our stamping for this. This is so fun. It's time to do the stamping. All right, I have my white hexagon cut with the meant to be dies, and I put it this direction with the points at the top and the bottom. And I'm going to use this cake. I like the cake with lots of birthday candles on it. Ink this up in some tuxedo black memento. And then we're going to color it. So, but while I have the ink pad out, let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment as well. So for this sentiment, we're going to use the same happy birthday that was on that puppy dog, but I don't want to stamp. I don't want to get the second part of the sentiment, the another wrinkle riser. I don't want that. So either you can just do it very, very carefully and just ink up the happy birthday, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can take a piece of Scotch tape and just cover up the second part of the sentiment and then ink up the happy birthday. And don't forget to remove the Scotch tape and stamp the happy birthday. All right, just like that. So there we go. Now we can color our little cake. And, oh, you know what I did? I did that red. Well, that was silly of me. I was like, why is this color a little bit different? I think I used red on this instead of the pink. Oops. Oopsity oopsie. Oh, well. It's what it is now. I think because it's colored, it doesn't matter. All right, I'm coming in with my light Melon Mambo. And I'm going to color in parts of my birthday cake. Very carefully color. I'm using the bullet tip because it's kind of fine. And I'm going with the frosting being Melon Mambo. I tried making the cake Melon Mambo and it looked weird. So we're making the frosting Melon Mambo. So just coloring around the outside. I'm using my light Melon Mambo. And I'm going to switch to the brushed end just to go a little bit faster. Just color this in. When you're using the brush tip, you always want the point to go towards the edge because that's the like little part of it. Ooh, I think my Melon Mambo is getting dry. All right. Now I can come in with my dark Melon Mambo. We'll add a little bit just to the edges here to make it look like it's curving. And I'm going to put it around the back, over this curve in the front as well. And then just kind of in these little drippy bits. Just like that. So we have icing on our cake. I'm going to actually make the cake crumb cake because that seems like a good cake color. So we'll just color this in, the cake bits in crumb cake. How's everyone doing on their coloring? Hopefully it is going well. Hopefully your bandstand base of your card has come together. So I just added some light crumb cake, and I'm going to grab my dark crumb cake and just go in around the edges. Add a little bit of shading on here. Then I think I'm going to take my light and go back over that because it seems a little dark. Just blend that in a little bit. There we go. Now we need to color the plate. So I'm going to color the plate with a light Pool Party. And I'm not going to use any dark because I really want to keep it very light because it's a plate. Just like that. And then I'm going to grab my light Daffodil Delight and I'm going to color in my flames. Now I'm not going to worry if I go outside of the lines on these flames because that's what flames do, right? I'm going to color all these in light Daffodil Delight. Then I'm going to grab my dark Daffodil Delight and I'm just going to add a little dot at the bottom of each candle, each flame. And sometimes it ends up taking up the whole flame, but a lot of times it doesn't. It just kind of gives it a little bit extra, So there we go. There's my cake. My cake. It's not sideways. There we go. So fun. And this, we're going to start putting on the front. So we have our piece of Melon Mambo hexagon. All right. We're going to add the black hexagon outline. And this is going to leave a little bit on the side. I love how these layer. You do have to be very, very careful when putting on your green glue because you really, really don't want to get too much. So keep that tip right close and don't give a lot of pressure Just put a little tiny bit on, push it around with the tip of your green glue, especially if you get too much, because you want just the lightest tiny bit. Let me show you. So hopefully you can see that. Just a teeny tiny bit in there. And this is going to go on our Melon Mambo with just a little bit of an edge showing. I love the way that looks. I love these dies. They are fabulous. Just like that. All right. Then we can take our birthday cake and we're going to put this inside. And I love the way these layer, the way you get different borders, different width borders effortlessly. So there we go. There's our cake. Now, we're going to adhere this to our card front with some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to find my Stampin' Dimensionals here. And we want to be careful. We just want to put one on the very top and one on the very bottom. Okay? Because that's the only place we're adhering them. So we're going to put one down there. And we're going to put one up here. One at the very top, one at the very bottom. And we're going to adhere that to that center section. Just try to get it, even. So there we go. Now, for this birthday, I'm going to cut this apart. I'm going to grab my paper snips. And I'm going to cut this. I'm going to trim down the top just a little bit. It feels a little bit extra to me. And I'm going to cut the happy and the birthday apart. Now this, we're going to adhere to our birthday cake. And I'm going to put this on with some Stampin' Dimensionals just to kind of pop that up a little bit further. I love Stampin' Dimensionals. Like, if there's no dimensionals, is it even handmade? I don't think so. They're the best part of handmade cards. Texture and dimensionals. All right, so we'll add this birthday down here. And then we'll add our happy. And then we are, of course, going to put some of those dots on here. Some of those neutral matte dots. And just barely fit 2 dimensionals on the happy. I'm just going to put this up here like this. So it says happy birthday. Let's grab our neutral dots, neutral matte dots, which I can't pick up. And we're going to use black ones on this one. So I'm going to start again with my large black dot. And I'm going to kind of put it under the corner of this birthday. Oops, a little bit too far. Come back out. Go back in. There we go. And then I'm going to grab a little one and put it right there. And I'm going to grab the other little one, maybe, and put it up here. There we go. So there's our 3 little black dots. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Isn't that a fun idea, Kim? Oh, so fun. And then it sets up just like that. Like, it's hard to see, but it sets up on your table and makes a really fun little addition. And then you can write on the back. So there we go. That is card number 2. And I'll show you, it fits in the envelope. So even though it pops up, it's going to fit right in that envelope. Easy peasy. So there we go. Just like that. Awesome, awesome. All right. Whew. Let's take a moment and clean up. Clean up the mess. I don't know about you, but I got a little bit of a mess going down here. So I'm going to try to find where I'm at. And my other instructions. All right, here we go. I'm going to clean off my stamps just so that I don't end up putting a piece of paper in them, because that's my MO. I'm just going to clean off my stamps a little bit. And then we're going to start working on card number 3. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys like it. Yay, yay. All right. We're cleaned up, ready to go. We're going to start by cutting our designer series paper again. So this time we want this one right here that has kind of the small leaves on it. All right, we're going to cut that one. And we are going to cut this to be 2.5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to cut it this way, 2.5 inches. And then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it 5 inches. All right. There we go. It is 2.5 by 5 inches. And I'm going to start by coloring this. Let's take a moment and color. So I'm going to start with the light granny apple green. And I'm just, this is going to take us a moment, friends. So we can just sit and have happy coloring time. I'm going to color these with granny apple green, the light granny apple green to start with. And we're going to color all of the leaves on here. So that's why it's going to take a minute. It's fun being able to make the designer series paper, whatever color you want, so you can make it match any card you want to make. You could turn these into like fall leaves or something. I don't know. Make them a different color or go wild and make them pink or purple, whatever you want. I am making them boring green. Just, you know, blah green. But that's okay. Blah green is nice sometimes. So I'm going to keep coloring. I'm just going to keep talking to myself. Hello, Karen. I shouldn't say talking to myself. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to all of you. It never does you good to clean up the mess because then you start making a new one. Isn't that so true? Like I clean and then boom, I just make a giant mess again. So, all right. This is probably the easiest of the cards tonight, but it's the card with the most coloring. I feel like all of my blends are starting to get dry. Sometimes that happens. It's just like, I get all new blends. Luckily, I have a drawer full because I do that. So if you missed it last night, I unboxed my big box of surprises from the new annual catalog that is coming in May, along with the new online exclusives that are coming in May. And oh my gosh, you guys, I bought too much stuff, but we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun this summer making things. No worries at all. All right. There we go. We're getting there. I'm just going to turn this around. Flip it around and keep coloring this way. I'm trying to stay in the lines really well. I don't know how well I'm doing though. This looks so pretty though. Once it's colored, it just is kind of bright and vibrant. So don't forget, next month for the April online card class, we're going to be using the Darling Dinos bundle, and they're so stupid cute. We're using Darling Dinos bundle. You can earn the card kit, the Make and Take kit for the class for free when you order at least $75 worth of Stampin' Up! Product through me in the month of March. So before the end of March, just order $75 worth of product and you'll get that card class for free. If you like are a demo and you're like, well, I don't want to order through you. I want to order through myself, which makes total sense. Like I would too. You can just register for the class too. And that's on my website. So, all right. Kathleen wants to know what the DSP is. This DSP is the Botanical Textures DSP. It is one of the new March online exclusives. So now I'm taking the dark granny apple green and just adding a little bit of dark granny apple green on the bottoms here. Just to give it a little bit more color. So, Kim, so sorry that you have to go. Oh my goodness, what fun. But you know, the replay is always here for you. That's kind of the good thing about YouTube, right? Like about being online is that you can always watch the replay later. Or if you didn't quite catch something, you can watch it again. All right, I'm getting sloppier and sloppier as I go. But this is part of the whole, I don't even know what the suite is, but it's designed to coordinate with the Textured Notes bundle, and it has 2 designer series papers. So it has the, I think it's called like woven textures and then botanical textures. And this is the botanical textures. The woven textures is like all this like basket weave stuff and everything. Going in here. So once I get all of this dark granny apple green on here, I think I'm going to grab just a little bit of dark old olive and come in just a little bit more. I want very, you know, colorful leaves. And use with a lot of gradation, differences in color. All right, so I'm going to grab my dark old olive, and I think I'm just going to use the bullet tip and just add a little tiny bit, like at the bottom of these leaves. Not a ton, just a little bit. And I'm totally getting sloppier and sloppier as I go, because you know, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I get concerned that it is taking me too long to color things. And so I try to hurry, which I'm trying not to do. I'm trying to just like take my time. But anyway, we're getting sloppy. Coloring in these leaves. All right. Color, color, color. Adding this all in. There we go. All right, so now my leaves are all colored. Aren't those pretty? And I just like the way that they all have like a little bit different green. We get some variation to the green. All right, we'll set this aside and let's work on the rest of the card now. I'm going to pull out the guts for card number 3. We have an envelope. I have 2 pieces of old olive, right? We have a piece of basic white, a piece of basic black, and then we have some basic white thick for the card base. So I'm just going to fold this in half to create our basic white thick card base. Try to get the sides lined up and hold those tight while I squish the middle. That just kind of helps it get as straight as possible. Now I'm going to grab this piece of basic white and we're going to stamp on here. And what we're going to stamp on here, I'm going to start with the sentiment that says aging fine like cheese and wine. And I'm going to stamp this at the bottom. This is going to come in here towards the bottom. And then I'm, of course, going to take the cheese and wine and stamp that at the top. And just like the other cards, I am stamping this with Tuxedo Black Memento, and we're going to color it. So we have more coloring to do. There we go. So now let's start with our wine bottle. I'm going to use my light old olive, and I'm going to stamp my wine. I'm going to start by coloring my wine bottle, coloring the green part of my wine bottle. Down here at the bottom. Then I'm going to take my dark Old Olive and I'm just going to go around the edges just a little bit. There we go. And I think I'm going to take my light Old Olive and color in the center of my label there. Yeah, Mary, you can catch the replay to see it from the beginning. I'm going to use a real red on this one instead of pink. So I'm going to start with the light real red, and I'm going to color in the top of my wine bottle and most of the label here. So very carefully coloring that. I want to come in and color the wine in real red. And I'm going to use my bullet tip to color these grapes. So just coloring in the individual grapes in real red as well. So that's with the light real red. Then I can come in with the dark real red, and I'm just going to kind of, oops, I missed that one, whatever. I'm just going to add like a little dot at the bottom of each of the grapes just to give them a little variation in color so they're not all the same. All right, we're going to add just a little bit in our wine. We'll add a little bit to the edge of our wine bottle. There we go. Now, put away the real red, and I'm going to pull out my Daffodil Delight. I'm going to color my cheese with the Daffodil Delight. Now, I feel like this cheese is a brie, this one over here, and it really should be white, but I'm going to color it yellow anyway, just because I feel like if it was white, it would be sad. So I'm just going to color the edge yellow. I'm going to come in with my dark daffodil, and I'm going to color in like the holes in my little Swiss cheese with some dark daffodil. Now the top of what I think should be brie, I'm going to color with a light crumb cake. So just like that. And the last thing I want to color, oh, I forgot the leaf. Let's grab our Old Olive, color the leaf in the stem on our grapes. And then I need to color the wine glass with some Pool Party. So we'll just color in the wine glass with the light Pool Party. I think I'm going to grab the color lifter and just kind of try to lighten up that Pool Party just a little bit more. It's a little blue. So just color over that. And there we go. There is the coloring for our image for this one. Super easy. Now we just put it together. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let's grab our card base. Our aging fun, like cheese and wine, is going to start by going on some basic black. So we'll just grab the green glue. Add that to our basic black. And then this is going to go on the Old Olive. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to put this on the Old Olive, I think. So this is going to go on Old Olive. We'll put that on with some dimensionals. Pop it up just a little bit. Add those to the back. So you can tell we're getting a completely different look on this card, I feel like, than the other two. The other two kind of had a similar-ish look with that dark pattern paper. But once you color the pattern paper, I think it really changes what it looks like. So we're going to adhere our other piece of pattern paper. Oh, that kind of looks cool on the back where the green has come through. We're going to adhere this to the longer piece of Old Olive. Just like that. And then this is going to go on our card front. So we'll adhere this piece of Designer Series paper to the card front. Like so. There we go. All right. And then our little aging fine like cheese and wine is going to go over here on the right side. So add a little adhesive. And then we're going to do something fun with our neutral matte dots. So this is going to go over here kind of towards the right side. Right side, a little bit towards the bottom. Just like that. Now grab your neutral matte dots and you should have some basic beige ones left. I'm going to use my dark Old Olive and I'm going to color a big one and two small ones with the dark Old Olive. I'm just going to color those with the dark Old Olive Stampin' Blend. And if you want to do a second layer of ink, you can. Just get them nice and inky. And that way they're going to match our card. Look at that. All right, so those are Old Olive, kind of hard to see, but we're going to add these to our card. And I'm going to do the big one right in the center down here. It's going to go right here. And then I'm going to do a little one on either side, just to do kind of 3 in a row. So there we go. We just added 3 little Old Olive dots down there. Isn't that fun? So fun. Thank you, Shannon. All right. Whew, friends, that is it. Those are our 3 cards for this evening. Can you believe it? We made it. 3 cards. 3 cards with that One More Year stamp set, which I think is adorable. I hope that you have liked this stamp set as much as I have, because I think it is like I think it's so funny and so cute. And so like the dog is cute. I don't know. It's just all cute. Cute and funny at the same time, which is my favorite thing. So I'm going to be back on Thursday. Thursday is going to continue week 3 of my series for the month of March, my Back to Basics Introduction to Card Making series that I am doing all month this month. And Thursday, we're going to be working on coloring. So we're going to color, and we are going to use the Darling Dino stamp set. So if you want a sneak peek at the stamp set that we're going to be using for the April online card class, make sure you come on Thursday. Plus, I'm going to be going over all of the need to know things for coloring, different ideas for how you can color, like so much having to do with coloring. So you're not going to want to miss it. I will see y'all on Thursday. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous evening.